Hey guys, Steve here. Today I got to look at the Konigsberg Foya ranked match. Here you can see I got Von Mueller. He was the last of my commanders on fully released lines to get up to 11. That's kind of my sweet spot for when I consider the commander build good enough to be playing at any tiers. So just got him boosted up this weekend to 11. I got Yamamoto, low level Yamamoto, only level 8. But the pen enhanced on the Germans, I think the AP pen that is. Very important because the AP is the biggest source of damage by far for these German cruisers, but the penetration's not as reliable. Macau, I got a high level. I think he's 15. He's influencing the concealment on here, which has been paying off a little bit. The German cruisers really poor concealment, but if you can bring it more in line with the average of the rest of the cruisers out there, that kind of evens the playing field a little bit. So I'm interested to hear in the comments how Ranks Season 2 has been going for you guys. I've been having pretty poor results, and I think part of it, probably the majority of it's just me not playing as good as I need to play. But I think the brittleness of the cruisers, which can really be overmatched from any angle by the battleships, it allows for the possibility of huge chunks of your team to be eliminated in very short amount of time. So sometimes I'll be having an exchange and kind of focused on that for a minute, and then once I get a moment to kind of assess the situation, you realize, oh wow, half my team died in the last 2 seconds. So that's a little bit frustrating. Some of you guys have been telling me you've had less success Season 2, kind of in line with what I've had so far. A couple of you have also said that you're actually having more success this season, but let me know in the comments how it's going. For me personally, cruisers have been the most effective, the most reliable. I've been kind of split in time with Konigsberg and Marblehead. Both of them have been extremely effective. Konigsberg, I picked Marblehead number 1 going into the tournament. A lot of people are saying they think Konigsberg would be better. I can't argue with that. I mean, for me, based on, playing in random mode and through the ranks Season 2, you can put them 1A, 1B, in whatever order you want. It might come down to commander build. For me, Marblehead, I got Norm Scott, level 16 for this one. You can see I got level 11, so a little bit less mature of a build on the German line. But the AP on this thing, if you spec it out for penetration, it can just devastate the cruisers and any cruisers that go broadside, especially for the Marblehead. I think the AP is a little bit more effective closer range. This ship, a little bit more effective at longer range. So that's probably where the advantage to this ship goes. The advantage to the Marblehead, better fire starting chance, at least how I have it set up, better HE damage. So both ships need to be using both shells effectively. I think the Konigsberg, though, needs to be more focused on making sure those AP shells are going in when the AP shells can go in, whereas the Marblehead, just kind of casually more focused on whittling them down through fires, cycling their damage con through by setting them on fire, and then looking for those close range AP shots into the broadside cruisers when they arise. You'll see here that I've been utilizing cover for this match so far. This is, every time that battleship shoots at you like that and you get an incoming salvo, the game could end, and it comes down to A, how well they can aim, and B, what the roll of the dice is with the RNG generator. So, you want to minimize those, but you're going to need to use cover. I've been trying to, or early on I was trying to employ a kiting strategy. These ships aren't the most nimble, and they're not able to, they can't angle as effectively against incoming battleships. So high tier cruisers, which I normally like to play, if you see an incoming salvo from the battleship, you can quickly swing the ass in, close that angle up, and then essentially bounce most of those. Maybe take a little graze damage here or there, a little ship damage. It's not the case with these tier 4 cruisers. You never know if they hit the Citadel at any angle. There's a good chance you're about to die. So I have been one shot in one of these games. It wasn't right off the bat like I've done to a few people on the opposing teams when I've loaded in battleships, but getting one shot doesn't happen to me every day, and when it does, it's kind of catches you off guard and it shocks the system. So I don't know, it's unfortunate, but the name of the game with the cruisers, stay alive, play conservative. You'd rather be taking your guns out of the fight for a minute or two and repositioning or getting safe, disengaging. And you just, every time you have an incoming cell, you just really never know with these things. They're not sturdy enough to be doing this. You can see with incoming cruiser AP, they were able to angle pretty successfully, just take minor damage with those incoming salvos. But if that's a battleship, it's lights out there. That's just the end of the game. But you can see here we're able to put these shots in right where we're aiming them and pick off these little citadel hits one by one. And that's, you know, the shell selection, I'd say more important on the Konigsberg than the Marblehead, but both of them very important. And they're both quick cycling guns, so, you know, shoot whatever shell you got loaded, and then you can see this Omaha begins the turn. So we discharged the shell that was loaded, then immediately switched to AP. And yeah, he's getting behind that island, but we're going to take that shot anyways, and just hope, you know, because those front guns might have a little bit of a chance to clear that far right side of the island. You never know, just take the shot, discharge it, then we switch back to HE, and then the Omaha looks like he's actually going to pull through the left side here. Go ahead and switch back to the AP if you got time to reload those shots. You want to be getting these AP shells into those targets when possible. That's kind of the key to German cruisers in general and the Konigsberg. You know, once you have the broadside targets, cruisers for sure, battleships, experiment. Take the shots with the AP. If you can get them to go in, then just keep lighting them up, as long as they're going to give you that broadside. But that's, you know, if you look at my Von Mueller build, I do have the AP enhancement perk. I think it's tier 3 on him, and then the Yamamoto. And as Yamamoto gets stronger, that's just going to allow more and more of these AP shells to go in instead of bouncing, and that's just going to boost the damage. And so I think for the Germans, the AP-centric builds are kind of the way to go. Now, the consideration for me using Lucian's the more defensive versus Von Mueller, it's going to come down to a ship-by-ship assessment as I level up Lucian's as well. And the ones that don't have the adequate rudder shift to be really dodging the shells, that's where Lucian's is going to go. And any of these German cruisers that are nimble enough to be dodging shots and bouncing shots due to their angling, that's where Von Mueller is going to go, again with the strong focus on the AP. As if you have those ships set up for the AP damage and they're able to survive late in the match, you can see, you know, this isn't a particularly high damage game, but I thought it was pretty effective, both in terms of the combination of damage done and just effect on the game overall. Now once you get to this kind of point in the game where things are opened up, that's when you need to really start to focus on the destroyer hunter. I mean, as a cruiser player, you need to be trying to pick up those destroyers whenever possible, but you don't want to be doing it too aggressively. You don't want to be pushing forward really aggressively, trying to spot destroyers and kill them early on. You know, again, for cruisers to be effective, you're going to need to really be alive for the entirety of the game. But once it opens up here, and unfortunately in this particular instance, I've already burned the sonar. But the cruisers, that's where the sonar is. None of the destroyers have sonar at this tier, so the edge to, you know, the trump card as it is on killing these destroyers that hide and smoke is sonar. So for, you know, tier 4, cruisers are really the ultimate destroyer hunters and killers. And you can see here we spot the kamikaze and are able to finish him off. But the kamikazes, they've been doing alright. I've seen some do really well. I've seen some do pretty poorly. Kind of what I predicted going into it. You know, they're not made for contesting caps. They're not made for hunting other destroyers. But they can still cause a lot of problems in these ranked battles. And especially if you're going to spec them out with really strong focus on the concealment like a lot of them have been. But the cruisers, that's when you need to step up to the plate, get those destroyers off the board, wrap up the games, and go from there. So rank season 2, it's been kind of a struggle for me so far, but I do want to hear from you guys how you're doing. I'm sure a few of you guys have already completed it and are back to sane living, which is good. That's going to do it for this one, though. If you did like it, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. A lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below, and we'll see y'all there. All right, peace.